Imagine this. You're getting ready for another day, going out to show houses, super excited to take on the world, and you back out of your driveway and there's a real estate sign in your neighbor's yard, freshly planted for sale sign right there, right in front of your face. It hits you like a smack in the face. This recently happened to me, and the ultimate truth is it's my fault. I'm going to discuss all the things that I'm doing in my business to implement so this doesn't happen again. And I want you to know, because I don't want you to have that feeling. And if you have had that feeling, let's never have it again. Let's go. What's up, guys? Jeremy Kane with the Real Estate Agent Playbook. Super excited to dive into this one because oddly enough, I actually asked my dad 20 some years ago when he was an agent, doesn't it just drive you nuts when you see another agent sign in your yard? Well, this happened to me most recently with a neighbor directly across the street. And it was no hard feelings, it wasn't anything, but ultimately I just didn't provide them enough value for them to reach out to me when they were looking to list. Not that I wasn't trying, not that I didn't have the garage sales and the block parties and all the things, but I wasn't as intentional as I should be. So the reality is that there is growing inventory, right? And so this could happen more because there's more homes going on the market than we've had over the last 10 to 15 years in our market. And if we step back and think about this, we have to understand that we have to really understand that hyper-local market. We have to be able to talk about these things, and we have to be able to ask direct questions. Because this neighbor had talked to me, asked me questions about real estate before, I provided the answer, was being the cool neighbor, not super nosy, not super dialed in. And the honest truth is, on my list, they weren't the first people that I thought would be moving off of this street. Doesn't mean that I'm putting any more interest or investment into these other people, but ultimately it came down to a situation where they were kind of on a roll. They were doing the things, they're planning the future, planning their life. Their sister had an agent, referred them over, and bam, there you go. That sign's in my yard. They made a quick decision. They're moving to Arizona. They're, gonna have a summer spot down in Fairplay, and here we are, right? And so as we kind of step back and think about this, ultimately, it was my fault for, first of all, assuming that they wouldn't be the first to put the sign in the yard and not focusing as much attention on them, but also that it happens quickly. And if it happens so quickly and to not be top of mind, even though I was top of mind when they sent the text, Sunday evening after our community garage sale, after they had thrown some stuff in my garbage, right, in the big dumpster that I provided, it ultimately wasn't me that was top of mind when this plan came to fruition. And granted, the sister was there and so on, but had I been top of mind, it would have been an easy, oh no, our neighbor's a great real estate agent. He's provided us a ton of stuff, so we're gonna, go ahead and list with him. Let's give him a call. Right? So that's where I was not. That's where I was not present. That's where I was not present top of mind for them. And so you have to understand that there are ways to do this. And we could always, pour as much as we want into. We're never going to get 100% of them, right? But I'll be happy with 80, 90% market share for sure. And so as we progress through this kind of mindset and the shift, certainly frustrated, yes. Did I make a big scene about it? No. Did I, complain to my wife about it? For sure. Did I make jokes with the other neighbors after they left about them not listening with me? Yes. In a way to, leverage this event a bit, because they were all surprised as well. And so as we kind of move through here, we want to talk about the opportunity that you have to become that local expert, to really farm an area. And we're going to talk all about a whole farming strategy in a neighborhood hub in a second, but then again in another video. So the next video posted will absolutely dive deep into creating a neighborhood hub. But for now, if you can just have that ability to put some content out. First of all, if you live there, it's super easy to get the content, right? Every single night, you're going on a walk, you're doing this stuff, you're eating at the restaurants, you're getting your haircut, you're doing all the things in the local, hyper-local community. So you just need to leverage this little cell phone thing and take some video and some content. But ultimately, if you do these really high-level neighborhood focuses and things like that, you can utilize and reutilize this marketing and branding to position yourself as a neighborhood expert. Because I don't know about you, but I've been, up against the neighborhood expert pretty often. And typically I can handle that objection by saying, we have the typical, we all have access to the MLS. We have the same data. Here's what I do to market your property differently. And I usually come out on top there. In the event that I didn't, wouldn't it be cool to have that in your neighborhood, that synergy of this is the go-to guy, he lives here, he knows it, he knows everything about it, he has some buyers that want to move in, he has all the things. And so if you are able to really take this to the next level and you're getting that content of the restaurants and the lifestyle and all the things, you can use it for multiple listings, you can use it for multiple other lead generation pieces, but it's also right next to you, right there. But you have to do it, right? You have to highlight the new parks. You have to highlight the new breweries. You have to do these things that, ultimately are bringing the, avatar that's moving into this community, into the community. And so if we kind of push forward and we're looking at this, it's about offense. Go on offense. Start with general marketing. Right? It's okay to put out general marketing for this neighborhood. These are the amenities. This is what we offer. These are the restaurants. This is the lifestyle. You can go ahead and put that out there. And then you can always keep that in your piggy bank as long as, new businesses and things aren't open or there's a new better restaurant or whatever. But you can use those things multiple times and you can use them in B-roll and your videography for the listing. You can do a lot of different things with that piece of content. But it has to start from the front end. It has to be that, right? So instead of just being the neighborhood guy that sends mailers and throws a party here and there, you need to be the neighborhood guy that highlights why it's so amazing to live here for, X, Y, Z. and then ultimately you will see that shift, right? You will have that position. And the honest truth is this neighborhood hub concept comes from a lot of this, hyper local farming and all the farming, the traditional farming stuff, the door knocking, the open houses, the mailers, everything, the calls, whatever it is that you're doing to farm a specific community. If we can create some sort of social platform, right? Whether it's a Facebook group or maybe it's an AI chatbot that helps, find the best restaurants or whatever, life's living in Lakehurst West or whatever it is. If you can kind of grow that up and build something that's cool that people kind of pour into, especially if it's AI, because you can put your information in the back end and always have, your information readily available, or a Facebook group, those are absolute, people love them. People get a little crazy on them sometimes, but if you're an administrator of a hub where you can put out this content, you control the content, you can, that's a great way to communicate if you are having a community garage sale or a block party or, someone loses their cat or anything. If it can be a resource for the people and everybody's on it and it's engaged and you're doing the work and you're putting some of the content up that's highlighting some of the areas in the area, there is an absolute amazing opportunity to truly push that neighborhood, market share to 75, 80, 90, 100% even if you're doing the right things. And so having that piece, and we're going to do an entire video next on building that out and some other ideas and some more, go a little bit more in depth. But if you have that and you can start to dump content in there and you can start to have it be an ultimate resource for everybody, maybe they're not even, talking at the bar that one day and saying, hey, like, this is a crazy idea. What do you think, sister? Right? And maybe they're on there looking at what it's going to look like to exit this community and, where they're going to go. And you never know, but as long as you have a place where it's easily communicated, email, text, all of that stuff's a little bit direct, ultimately for some of those things. And it's nice to kind of have, the ability to hop on there, see what's going on, see if there's anything going on this weekend, that kind of stuff, versus having direct text that you have to respond to, you have to RSVP to, and you have to really, have another, mental focus for that. So using social media is absolutely key in growing this up. So then if we really step back and we're like, okay, this is what we're going to do. right? This is how we do it. We have so much power in marketing those listings. We have a ton of content. We have a ton of information. We know those, we've obviously pay attention to what homes are bought and sold in the area. You know those price points, you know how to price it. And ultimately you can use this as an absolute game changer for your business and getting your sign in the neighbor's yard versus someone else's. And then from there, it's all gravy. You position yourself as the expert. You perform over and over and over again from the neighbors. It grows like wildfire. Even the people that are coming in and buying the property know that, they know who the listing agent typically is if they did a good job. And now the listing agent is now their neighbor, and it's your job to rinse and repeat, right? It's your job to turn them into your next, clients. Not that you want them to move out, but as a referral source or whatever it is, to start building those bonds, because ultimately they're your neighbor. They're the yard you're going to see driving out of your driveway every day. And you want to have those connections to help grow your business. And if you do the work on the front end, you don't play defense, you create some sort of neighborhood hub, and then you're able to bring it home because you are the expert. You know the days on market, you know all of these things. You will absolutely list more homes in your neighborhood than you won't. And that's what we're going for. So I hope this kind of gave some perspective. You can't stop your neighbors from calling another agent, but you certainly can make it really difficult or even make them regret it if they don't call you, because your knowledge, because your background, because of how you've positioned yourself in that hyper-local market. So hope this helps. Like, comment, subscribe. If you have any questions or you just want to talk about losing a listing, we can trade war stories and go from there. Book a call below. We'll talk to you next time.